Hello, hello everyone. Jamie Trull here, your favorite CPA and profit strategist. And today we're going to be talking about how to hire your kids in an S Corp. And it's important that we talk about specifically an S Corp because it is a little bit different than perhaps a different entity. So if you are a sole proprietor or an LLC who is not elected to be taxed as an S Corp, it's a little bit more straightforward to hiring your kids. With an S Corp or a C Corp or potentially a partnership, it's a little bit more complicated, but you absolutely still can do it. So that's the question that I get all the time is, can I still do this? Can I still get the tax benefits? Can I still hire my minor child if I am an S Corporation? And the answer is yes. I actually have an S Corporation myself. My primary business is an S Corporation. However, I am able to still hire my child, get all of the tax benefits, and employ him even though he's only 9 years old. Obviously, he does very age-appropriate work in my business. He doesn't work a ton, but he does like to help me out. He does come on this YouTube channel from time to time, and so I get to pay him to be able to do that. And I also get to put money into his Roth IRA that I've opened for him because he has earned income. So I'm already setting him up for his financial future, which is an amazing thing to do. So we have lots of conversations about money. If you want to check out a couple of weeks ago, I did a video where him and I literally sat down and talked about money and financial literacy and the conversations that I have with him. So if you're wondering how to talk to your kid, that's a great place to start. Now, before we get into all the specifics about how to hire your kid in your S Corporation, importantly, let's talk about what an S Corporation is and why it differs a little bit from a sole proprietor or an LLC. So when you elect to be taxed as an S Corporation, that means that you essentially are now an owner of that corporation. And you're probably paying yourself via payroll, and you may be paying other employees as well, potentially. And then you also are probably taking some form of owner draws or have some profit above and beyond your payroll. That profit, that owner draw that you're taking is going to be taxed at a preferential rate. You are going to be saving Social Security and Medicare taxes on that amount because only your salary is going to have those amounts taken out. So you have income taxes on all of your income, but you only have those Social Security and Medicare, i.e. FICA taxes or payroll taxes. They're called all different kinds of names, but it's the same thing. You only have that on your salary, not on your owner draws if you are an S Corp. It's different if you're a sole proprietor LLC, but if you're an S Corp, that's how it works. So the other thing that we want to talk about really quickly before we jump in, just to make sure everybody's on the same page, is whether you can even hire a minor child, meaning a child under 14 or 16 years old, because of child labor laws. And the answer to that is you actually can. If you are the owner of your business, then yes, you can employ your child to work within your business at any age. So here's an excerpt from the Department of Labor website that says that family businesses are basically an exemption. Now, you're not exempt from all the child labor laws, but you are exempt at least from the minimum age requirements for a child working in your business if that business is owned by the parent, which includes S corporations. So now that we know it's legal to hire your child at basically any age that you want to, again, assuming that they have an actual job that they are able to do in your business, which could be modeling or social media or any number of different things, cleaning your office, administrative work. There are lots and lots of different options that your child could do depending on their age and the things that they enjoy and are good at. But now that we know that, yes, you can hire them, it is okay to do that, that you're not violating any kind of federal child labor laws by doing that, we then need to talk about what the best way is to do it. So can you hire your child directly through your S Corporation? Yeah, you can, but I wouldn't. And the reason that I wouldn't is because you lose a lot of the benefit of hiring your child when you employ them directly by your S Corporation. And that is because there are certain exemptions to taxes that are available to entity types that are LLCs, not S Corps, or sole proprietors. Okay, so if you've elected to be taxed as an S corporation, or maybe you're a C corporation, then these don't apply to you. These exemptions for taxes don't apply to you. What are those exemptions for taxes? Well, I will show you directly on the IRS website. So you can see here on the IRS website, there is a whole section about children employed by their parents. And it says that if the business is a parent's sole proprietorship or a partnership in which each partner is a parent of the child. Now, sole proprietorship here also is going to include LLCs that have not elected S Corporation because those are taxed the same. So that's important to clarify because I know that's not always super clear when we're talking about entity types. So in that case, it says payments for the services of a child are subject to income tax withholding regardless of age. We're going to talk about that here in a minute, but yes, they will be subject to income taxes, but there are some ways around that too. But the second part is where you really want to focus in. It says payments for services of a child under age 18 are not subject to Social Security and Medicare taxes. If the child is 18 years or older, then payments for these services of this child are subject to Social Security and Medicare. So if they're under 18, no Social Security and Medicare if they're employed directly by a sole proprietorship or an LLC. And then the last one says payments for services of a child under age 21 are not subject to Federal Unemployment Act tax. So that means you don't have to pay any FUTA tax at all if your child is under 21. So the taxes they have to pay depend on their age. If they're under 18, there are no Social Security, Medicare, or unemployment taxes. If they're under 21, there are no unemployment taxes. But if you keep on reading, you're going to see a little bit more. So if the business is a corporation, a partnership, unless each partner is a parent of the child, or an estate, then you'll go on to read that payments for services of a child are subject to income tax withholding. Well, we already knew that. That's true for everybody. Social Security taxes, Medicare taxes, and FUTA taxes regardless of age. So that sounds pretty dang discouraging, doesn't it? When you read that, it sounds like, uh-oh, great. Now that I'm an S Corp, I'm missing a lot of the benefits that I could have by hiring my minor child. But you're in luck, my friend, because I'm going to tell you I won't call it a loophole because it really isn't. It's a fully available to anyone strategy that you can use to still employ your children legally, fully legally, and they can save on taxes. Now, real quick to talk about income taxes. This said that yes, your child is going to have to pay income taxes or be subject to withholding for income taxes is the way that it's worded, regardless of their age and regardless of the fact that you are employing them in your own business. However, remember that your child is going to be taxed at their rate. Your child's income does not roll into your tax return. They have their own taxes that they would have to pay. Now, if you are going to be paying them occasionally, right? If you're not going to be employing them full time, which would be pretty difficult to do with a minor child, right? Then you can pay them up to $13,850 a year with $0 in federal income tax on that. And the reason that you can do that is because that is the current standard deduction for a single filer. So $13,850, the tax rate on that is 0%. If they make a little bit more than that, they're only going to be taxed on the amount that they are paid above that, and it'll still be at a pretty low rate, probably quite a bit lower than the rate that you would have to pay on that income. So why, yes, technically, you still have income tax withholding potentially on this. In a lot of cases, your kid isn't going to have to pay any income tax at all on the amount that they make. And remember, those standard deduction amounts change every single year, so check what it is. Just go into Google and put standard deduction, single filer, 2020, whatever, 2024, 2025, whatever year you're watching this, and it's going to give you the current standard deduction amount for the IRS. So that's great for income taxes, but what about these pesky Social Security, Medicare, and unemployment taxes? So why is it that sole proprietorships and non-corporations get to have these great benefits where their kids don't have to pay those, but if you have an S corporation or a C corporation, then your kid does? That doesn't seem really fair, does it? It's kind of silly, I agree, but that's just how the rules are written. However, the way around this is to create a family management company. Now, this is not some kind of crazy, thing that's going to get you audited, right? These are very, very common to create family management companies. What the heck is a family management company? Well, it's basically an LLC or a sole proprietor that you set up that is not going to be taxed as a corporation and is going to serve as the management company. They're going to manage essentially your children on payroll. So the entire purpose of that entity, it's almost like just a holding company, and it is basically basically going to be responsible for managing the work that is done by your child. So you do have to go and set up a new entity for this. Again, it can be a sole proprietor, it can be an LLC. You're going to want to go and get an EIN and really actually create what this is. You can call it whatever you want. I call mine the Trull Management Company. So whatever you want to call it, you can call it. And ultimately, the entire role of that is going to be to manage your kid. And you, as the parent, are going to be the sole owner of that. So this is the way that you will be able to pay them. And remember, if you're paying them from a sole proprietor or an LLC, then you don't have Social Security, Medicare, or unemployment taxes if they're under 18, or you don't have unemployment taxes if they're under 21. And it's really worth the extra step and the little bit of extra work if you know what you're doing to set this up properly. So how exactly does a family management company work? Well, the way that that's going to work is that it is going to track all the work done by your child. So that management company, i.e. you, right, is going to keep a tracker, keep a log where you are logging everything that your kid does in your business and the amount that you're paying them for that work and the dates that you did it and everything else. And then what's going to happen is it's actually going to invoice your S Corp for that amount. So again, it's kind of like this pass-through entity. So you've got this entity, you set it up, you get a bank account for it, and then you invoice your S corporation in this instance for the amount that you're going to pay your child, plus any other fees like potentially payroll fees if you're paying for a payroll provider or something like that. So you're going to invoice the S Corp is going to pay the family management company, and then the family management company is going to pay the child. And again, any potential other expenses that they may have related to that payroll. Now, you might be wondering, is this really worth it? I already have payroll set up for my S corporation. Can't I just put my kid on that payroll and make it a lot easier? Well, let me put some numbers to this because I always think that that's helpful to figure out whether it's worth jumping through a few little hoops in order to do this the best way possible. So here's what you're going to want to do. Let's say that you have a profitable business and you're trying to decide between option A, which is to do nothing and just not hire your kid, not pay them anything, and instead let that money flow through as your profit and be taxed on that, right? That's option A. Option B is you hire your child directly through your S corporation. Or option C, you set up a family management company and pay your child through that. So let's look at option A. Let's just say we're going to use that $13,850 as an example here to say if you were to decide to max out what you could pay your child without any taxes at all, without any income taxes, that would be that $13,850, which is the standard deduction. That $13,850, if you went with option A and just let that flow through as profit in your business, depending on your effective tax rate, you would be taxed probably somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000. Now, let's move to option B, which is employing your child directly through your S corporation. If you do that, they have a 0% tax rate for income taxes, right? Because they are going to just be using that standard deduction. And they will, however, have to pay Social Security and Medicare, as will you have to pay the employer portion. And you'll also have to pay that federal unemployment. So altogether, those taxes are going to end up being about $2,500. So still less than what it would have been for you, less than half actually of what you would have had to pay if it was your profit if you gave it to your kids. So that's great. You're already shifting that income into a lower tax bracket. However, if you go with option C and do a little bit of extra work, set up that family management company and pay them through that same $13,850 would be tax-free, assuming they were under 18. So that means $0 in taxes. So option A, you're paying $5,000 to $6,000 in taxes. Option B, you're paying about $2,500 in taxes. Or option C, you're paying $0 and they're paying $0 in taxes. How amazing is that? So when you look at it that way, you could see that maybe a little bit of effort can go a very long way. Now, it probably goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway, that there are a lot of things that you want to make sure that you get right in this. And a lot of people do this the wrong way. So when you are trying to set this up, you want to make sure that you have all of the proper documentation that you need, all of the proper contracts that you need, everything you need to make sure that you are doing this by the letter of the law. Because what you don't want is the tax man to come in later on someday and say, you didn't do this correctly, now you owe me a bunch of money. So if you want to do this the right way, then I actually have created a whole toolkit just for people like you. It's called the Hiring Your Kids Toolkit. We are just now launching this. It is out for pre-sale right now as I'm recording this. I don't know if our pre-sale is still going on when you're watching this, but regardless, go check it out, jamietrull.com/kids, and go see all the things that we have to offer, because within this toolkit, it's literally the A to Z. We have checklists, we have guides, we have worksheets, we have contract templates. We got it all. There are video lessons to explain this in more detail. And we specifically have a video lesson just for setting up a family management company and a guide just for that. And we talk about how to even go further and open up a Roth IRA for your child so that you can make them a millionaire off of only a few $1,000s that you might be putting in now. I promise you it's possible. We have a calculator in there that shows you how. So if you want to set your kid up for their financial future and you want to save on taxes, this is the perfect opportunity for you, and I want you to go grab it, okay? I want you to go grab it so you have all the tools to do this and to do it right. Thank you so much for joining me. Go check out some of my other videos about hiring your kids, like the myths video I did last week, which is super helpful as well. And go check out the Hiring Your Kids Toolkit, which is available now. See you soon.